Well, for more on Peru's economy, I spoke to Neil Pyper. He's the associate head of the School of Strategy and Leadership at Coventry University. I asked him why the country is performing better than its neighbours.
I think it's a combination of a number of things. Peru's economy is heavily dependent on metals exports, but it exports a range of metals, and some of those have been affected by falls in commodity prices. Others haven't, and that means that it's weathered the drop in commodity prices better than other commodity exporters. Also, Peru, particularly by its own historical standards, has enjoyed a remarkably long period of stability in terms of policy making and policy direction since the early 2000s, and I think that is now bearing fruit in terms of political and economic stability.
Since Peru does have that good balance between its politics and its economy, and you mentioned copper mining being one of these commodities that it's been slumping for a while, but now is just now starting to rebound. How much of an impact do you think that's going to have on Peru's economy going forward?
I think growth in Peru slipped a bit over the past 2 or 3 years. It's rebounded strongly this year and is likely to remain relatively strong over the next couple of years. And that has to do, as I say, with the fact that Peru exports a number of metals. So there's copper, but there's also silver, gold, and zinc. And that means that it's better insulated than some from drops in the prices of any one particular commodity. Also, there has been significant investment in a number of large infrastructure and mining projects that are coming on stream, and that's feeding into positive growth.
And we've seen that China has been investing in Peru, especially when it comes to copper mining, but other projects as well. What do you think is getting China and other foreign investors really excited about Peru?
I think it's the fact that the business environment in Peru has been conducive to foreign investment, particularly in the extractive sector, over a long period of time. So there has been institutional stability, or relative institutional stability. There are still some weaknesses, but relative stability over a period now of over 15 years. There has been policy continuity despite changes of governments and there being a series of governments of different political persuasions over a period of 15 years. And that means that I think investors from China and other countries can be relatively confident about the stability of the rules of the game and about the fact that the business climate will be welcoming of foreign investment, particularly in the extractive sector.
Now, another hot topic that's been on the lips of everyone, especially since the US election, is this idea of what's happening with free trade deals. And Peru is very proud of its free trade reputation. So what could the fallout be if some of these really large global trade deals start to fall apart?
I would see Peru as relatively insulated from that. Peru has pursued an approach over quite a long time of seeking bilateral trade deals. So it has a series of bilateral trade deals with the US, the EU, China, and others. And that means that it is less exposed to renegotiation or difficulties with the large trade blocs. I mean, Peru is also emerging as a regional leader in terms of trade. So, for example, it's playing a significant role in the regional alliance of the Pacific. So that means that I think that Peru is less exposed than other countries in Latin America to a potential surge in protectionism in the US and elsewhere.
So with that being said, if you think that they're more insulated when it comes to some of the fallout from trade deals, what are some potential headwinds you think could perhaps hamper growth in Peru?
I think the challenge that Peru faces is that it may be an exporter of a range of different metals, but it's still primarily a metals exporter, and that means that it is exposed to fluctuations in the prices of its key commodity exports. I think also there has been evidence over quite a long period of time that the strength of the extractive sector has fed through into other areas of the economy. So, for example, consumer spending in the major cities. But there is the risk of that drying up. And I mean, in particular, the construction sector has been a significant driver of growth in Lima. And so there's been a lot of building of residential property in particular.